Now, as far as our first event is concerned, or race number 8, first one we're looking at, Equaletta Blitz will head the field for Douglas White. Now with the White stable, Jerry Chow taking weight off his back as he should roll forward, as will Drops of God from barrier number 11. Odds on for all 4 starts last season. Baby takes the drop in class for Jimmy Ting and Wagner Borges. We've got Star of Yunlong, Ellie Gare, California Sybil, more on that name later on as he makes his Hong Kong debut. Co-partner Ambition, Jade Phoenix up in class, and Star of Glory for Michael Chang and Dylan Moe. Now, as far as the speed map is concerned here, Tom, it's a wide gate for Drops of God out in barrier number 11, but I assume he's going to try and find the front.
Well, you should have enough speed to do so. We've seen that in the past from him. This is the worst gate he's had so far. He's had gate number 10 and he's been able to get, not quite leading, but been able to get near the pace somewhere. Jade Phoenix and Equaletta Blitz should be handy as well, and then you've got Star of Yunlong sort of just off the pace. He looks a little tricky for Baby and the Hulk, but you'd imagine here, Paul, the favourite, or the favourite expected anyway, Drops of God to lead. Yeah, I think Equaletta Blitz might try and give him a little bit to do with the apprentice Jerry Chow aboard, but I think he'll eventually get across. As you mentioned, Jade Phoenix, look, he's got a good fresh record. He's been placed a couple of times. Baby prefer at Happy Valley anyway, so I think he's gonna find it tough from out there. Co-partner Ambition likely to get back, but from a similar sort of position last start, he ran on exceptionally well.
OK, before we get into the race in a bit more detail, let's get out to Mark, who's picked out one of the key runners for us.
Thanks, Andrew. One horse with a big reputation last season was Drops of God out of the John Size stable. He had the 4 starts, he won 2, and he placed 3rd a couple of times as well. Interesting stat, he's unbeaten when he leads in his races. To find out what he's done during his break, we caught up with Joe Moreira at Trackwork.
I think after a break, some horses did drop form a little bit, but even if he did drop form, quickly he started to pick up. He had 2 barrier trials, both of them he gave me good feel. We were not testing him at this stage because obviously it's still hot weather and we want to make sure that he lasts as long as possible throughout of the season. And what he has done so far, it's quite promising. I mean, he may not be at his very best at the moment, but he might be good enough to be going back to the races and win again.
Barrier number 11 for Drops of God to overcome this week. And just an interesting little side note on Drops of God. First starter in the race, California Sybil, has looked very good at the trials as well for Tony Cruz. Joe had been riding him in the trials. He's gone for Drops of God on race day. So there's an interesting little side story to this race also.
There certainly is a side story with the horse's name as well, California Sybil. But we'll come to him in a minute when we look at his trials. As far as this horse is concerned, Tom, Drops of God, he looked very impressive when winning last season. He did, and when he was able to win last season from the front, he did it quite easily. He's gone round at 1.8 on 3 occasions, 1.5 as well, and from gate number 11 he should find the front, and so far, Paul, he's looked very progressive. He has, hasn't he? Look, I think they might make him work a little bit to get to the front, but look, he's won fresh in the past, and look, he's a very progressive horse with rating points in hand. Yeah, so you won fresh up, then was beaten twice, but was very dominant here, Paul, on his final start from the front. Yeah, exactly. And once he gets to the front, he's a tough horse to get past. I think that's probably the key for him, because when he's led, he's won, and you can see him absolutely running away from this field. So look, the off-season's been good to him, I think, what I've seen, and there's no reason why he can't win again. Yeah, he just was too good here on this occasion. Look, the horses he's beaten both ran well this season so far. I'm a Single Man, also Lockheed. So the form has stacked up okay there in terms of those horses, but he should be winning this. Here's the Hulk then back at the trials. First up for the season, fair to assume, Tom, from barrier 10 will be looking for some cover in the early stages. Yeah, I thought last time out he was a little bit one-paced in his assignment. That was from barrier number 2. That was at the end of the season. But prior to that, he'd won a couple in a row. One was over 1,200 metres, beating home All in Minor. This trial wasn't too bad. He's stuck on evenly enough here over the final stages. So I put him in on a minor line from the draw. Yeah, didn't quite get him in. Just with that draw, put me off a little bit with him. He has been placed fresh up in the past, though, the Hulk. So there is that in his favour, and the trial was okay. OK, what about Namjong Singh's? He's spent some time at Chung Fa. Paul, how's he looked? Yeah, look, he's looked okay, but he's another horse whose fresh up record isn't that good. He's had 4 goes fresh and hasn't really done too much to date. I think he's picked quite a nice race here to kick off as well, so he's happy to watch, but the stable's going well. Yeah, it certainly is. Danny Shumi's had 4 winners. Alexi's had a couple. He raced wide last time out. You can see him here over Lockheed, who's since
come out and run well. He's been passed here by Lockheed. He stayed on evenly enough there as well. The horse that ran fourth in that trial was Far. Of course, he won in good enough style during the week, but he wasn't one I got in Namjong Singers.
All right, Hong Kong debutantes. Now, this horse, California Sybil, they called it in Australia. His name, though, Cible in French means target, is what they've called his Chinese name, California Target. But you spoke to the owners, Tom, they're happy with Sybil.
Yes, they are happy with Sybil, so I guess they're the one that are paying the bills, so that's what they want. And look, he's finished off okay in this trial. He's come from the Snowdens in New South Wales. He won at Kembla and Gosford. He's a half two with Charmed Harmony, who was a Group 2 place getter and a Group 3 winner in place getter. So there is some pedigree there for him, and I didn't mind the trial.
I quite liked him. I found a spot for him, actually. He's 12.33 pounds, so he's a nice big strong horse as well. And those 2 wins are pretty good in Australia. I had a look at those. He's had 3 trials to get him ready.
All right, Jade Phoenix. I thought this trial looked quite good as well, Paul.
Yeah, I've definitely found a spot for him. Now, he's been placed a couple of times fresh in the past, this horse. He comes in with a lightweight, informed Karis Heaton aboard from barrier 3. Look, if something goes wrong with Drops of God at the start, he could easily lead, but I'm sure he'll be happy to let Drops of God, Equalator Blitz come across and he'll get the nice trial.
9 starts last season, only 1 run out of the top 4, so he was very honest. Interesting, he stripped 28 pounds off him this time round, his Frankie Law at Jade Phoenix. Nothing wrong with that trial there, but didn't quite get him in.
All right, the favourite that want to beat, though, Paul?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Look, I've got the favourite on top here, Drops of God. It was a very dominant win at the back end of last season. Looks a progressive horse. In for second here, I've got co-partner Ambition. I think this horse is quite progressive. Another one comes in with a light weight, and if they do overcook it in front, he can hit the line strongly. Jade Phoenix in the trail, and the new horse, California Sybil, I put him in there for 4th. 3, 9, 10 and 8.
I think Drops of God will be particularly tough to beat for John Size and Joe Moreira, but I do like co-partner Ambition in the race. Now, he was pushed out in his trial. He was last on the home turn last start, got hampered at the 350, but closed off pretty well late down the outside, co-partner Ambition. California Sybil makes it in, and the Hulk there on a minor line. So 3, 9, 8 and 2.
Yeah, the favourite's the one to beat. The concern would be if they try and kick up, and they should try and make it difficult for Joe to get across, but if he does, could be game over there with Drops of God in the Chinese Recreation Club Challenge Cup.